Greetings fellow Decepticons, Soundblaster1987 here on my first ever Bakugan anime franchise review. Today I'll be looking at the Maxus Dragonoid combiner from, I believe, the, new Vestroia line, although I could be mistaken. Feel free to comment below to correct me if you know better about this kind of stuff. Now, this set contains one normal Bakugan and 6 Bakugan Trap creatures. Each of the 6 trap creatures represents one of the 6 elemental class types of the Bakugan franchise: Pyrus, Chaos, Ventus, Darkus, Aquos, and Subterra. Again, I don't know all that much about the Bakugan franchise, but feel free to correct me on any mistakes I make in the comments below. So, the main Bakugan figure is Maxus Dragonoid, the main Dragonoid type character of the series. So, I have a Geomag magnetic rod with me, since these Bakugan creatures rely on magnetic technology to transform, and I don't have any of the cards available with me to hand to transform these, so if you use the right end of a magnet, you can transform them pretty darn quickly, although this one seems to like to, be completely locked up and immune to magnets, so bear with me. That's done it. So, once you've activated the magnetic part, you just need to snap the extensions of the wings into place, like so, gently, because they're extremely thin plastic. Then just get your nail in there and open up the horns for the dragon head, like so. And flip out the feet, of course. Next is Grakus Hound, the Bakugan Trap of the Subterra subclass. Most of it transforms of its own accord, but the tail and the rear legs need to be done manually. Like so. Then Dark Hound, the darkest equivalent of Grakus Hound. So, same as before, just flip out the legs, flip out the tail. And in Dark Hound's case, you also have to flip out the ears, which are covering the eyes. Well, I say ears, they're more like bull horns, but, once they're flipped all the way back, they become dog ears. Then Spitar, the Manta Ray, which forms the Ventus part of the combination. This is the only one where you don't have to do any manual additional stuff. Then Graphius and Brachium are the Chaos and Aquos components. I can't remember who's who, so please feel free to again correct me in the comments. But extend these little spikes at the back. Then the other one. And finally, the Pyrus component, Spider Fencer. Now, the springs are a bit worn on my copy of Spider Fencer, so I don't even need to use a magnet for this one, I could just drop it on the table surface. But for consistency with the others, just magnet to the underside and all the legs spring out. So what you want to do is bring all the legs out like so, flip out the gold feet, and job is more or less done. Now, due to the spring-loaded transformation of all of these, there's not really much in the way of articulation you can do, because it's mostly all friction of the parts from a spring-loaded transformation. So, that's the Bakugan and the traps all in their transformed states. For size comparison, here we have Transformers Revenge of the Fallen Deluxe Class Soundwave from my recent review, as a size comparison. Now, to combine this lot into the Maxus Dragonoid, what you want to do first is basically fully transform Spitarm back into trap mode, but leave the tail unfolded. So head in, base in, wings in, like so. Then flip up this little connector port here. Then the Maxus Dragonoid will just stick onto that post using this little port at the bottom here, like so. May take some finagling to get in position. Then what you want to do next with Dark Hound and Gracchus Hound is you want to bring the legs in like this. Don't fold them in all the way, just have them like that to stabilize the connection point. Then fold back the tail, bring the head back and snap this panel into place to become the foot. Then fold up the connector ports like so and attach them to Spitarm to become the legs. So Gracchus Hound, the Subterra part, becomes the left leg, and Dark Hound, the darkest component, forms the right leg. Same on both sides. If you want, you can leave the tails deployed as sort of like knee spikes almost, even though these become the upper legs, not the lower legs of the combination. Then what you want to do is have Graphius and Brachium both rotate 180 degrees of a rear section like so. To basically become glorified spiked shoulder pads. And basically leave them unmodified from this point forward. So that's one arm attached. Then for Spider Fencer, what you want to do next is basically, fold the head and tail in and open up the combiner ports, but leave the legs extended as claw finger attacks and such like. Then what you want to do is attach Spider Fencer to either Graphius or Brachium like so. And that becomes the right arm with a giant sort of four-fingered claw attack going on. Kind of similar to Hellboy's Right Fist of Doom, as was joked about by the Ninja Turtles in the Injustice 2 DLC pack. So, one final plug-in and Maxus Dragonoid is complete. Now, due to the fragile nature of these things, there's not exactly much of a way of articulation here. You got a spring-loaded flopping about head for the Dragonoid, and you can just about pose the head slightly, but all you've really got is the sort of semi-ratcheted rotation of the combiner ports like so, which allows the arms and legs to move back and forward, but it's not very stable in poses like this, so just leave it in this kind of configuration and you're all good. So, one last comparison. Revenge of the Fallen Soundwave against the combined mode of Maxus Dragonoid. And that concludes the review. I have been Soundblaster1987, thanks again for watching. Don't expect many Bakugan reviews on the channel in future, but I will do more if you request it. My next toy review will be Transformers Animated Voyager Class Grimlock. And then, of course, after that will be my next animation review, where I'll be looking back at the original 1965 Thunderbird series and its connection to the Jerry Anderson franchise as a whole, plus the two feature-length films Thunderbirds Are Go and Thunderbird 6. Till then, till all are one.